The Young and the Restless spoilers. Tuesday, full February 11th, 2025. Shattered mirrors, a tale of betrayal, redemption, and the unrelenting quest for justice in the heart of a bustling metropolis, where secrets festered behind gilded facades and power was as transient as the shifting winds. A storm was brewing, a storm that would test the very limits of loyalty, pride, and the human spirit. At its center was Sharon, a woman whose life had become a battleground of accusations, guilt, and an ever-mounting pressure to save not only her reputation but her very soul. The weight of the world on her shoulders for years, Sharon had prided herself on her inner strength. She had weathered betrayals and survived scorn with a quiet dignity. Yet, in recent times, the relentless barrage of adversaries had begun to chip away at that resolute exterior. It seemed that every whisper, every sideways glance, and every calculated scheme was designed to isolate her from the people she once trusted. Now, with enemies emerging from every shadow, Sharon felt as if the world was closing in around her. Each step forward met with another twist of fate that threatened to drag her deeper into despair. Late one rain-soaked evening, as the city lights blurred into a watery mosaic outside her window, Sharon found herself alone with her thoughts. The weight of all that had transpired pressed down on her like an unbearable burden. In the solitude of her dimly lit apartment, she began to confront the truth. Despite her formidable exterior, she was not immune to error. The life she had built was riddled with choices she now deeply regretted, and the time had come to own those mistakes. A confession in the shadows. In the quiet hours before dawn, Sharon resolved to lay her soul bare. She knew that the only path to redemption was through honest confession, a willingness to admit her missteps and to seek forgiveness from those she had wronged. Foremost among them was Phyllis, a once trusted friend whose eyes now shone with a mix of hurt and hardened resolve. Sharon had never imagined that she would find herself on her knees, pleading for absolution. Yet, as the memories of her transgressions flooded back, she understood that her survival depended on confronting the past head-on. However, this newfound resolve was not without its complications. Deep within, a fierce pride still burned, a stubborn streak that had often seen her defy the very people who might have offered her solace. Sharon's resentment toward Phyllis, and even Daniel, whose actions had left scars that time might never fully heal, created a paradox within her. On one hand, she yearned to unburden her soul, on the other, she was defiant, convinced that her inherent strength rendered any plea for forgiveness unnecessary. In a series of internal dialogues, she wrestled with the idea that vulnerability might be her undoing, even as it promised a path to healing. Phyllis's vow of vengeance. While Sharon battled her inner demons, Phyllis was preparing for her own war. Known for her steely determination and a thirst for retribution, Phyllis had long been the architect of her own brand of justice. In a clandestine meeting away from prying eyes, she confided in Nick, a trusted confidant and a man who had seen the darker corners of their shared world. "I will not rest until those who wronged me face the consequences," Phyllis declared, her voice both resolute and chilling. Her words were not a simple promise of payback, they were a declaration that the scales of justice, long tipped in favor of the powerful, would soon be balanced by her own hand. Every carefully laid plan, every secret meeting, and every whispered promise of revenge was designed to dismantle the structures of deceit that had once empowered her adversaries. Nate. Caught in a crossfire amid the turmoil, another soul found himself ensnared in the relentless tug-of-war between loyalty and survival. Nate. Once a bystander in the vast theater of schemes and counter-schemes, Nate now found himself at the very center of a conflict he neither sought nor fully understood. The bitter rivalry between Amy and Holdem had escalated into a maelstrom of accusations and counterattacks, leaving Nate exhausted and disillusioned. Who could he trust when every alliance seemed tainted by ulterior motives? The more he tried to extricate himself from the relentless battle, the more he realized that each step away from one enemy inadvertently drew him closer to another. Audra's stark warnings. As the tension reached a fever pitch, Audra emerged as a voice of grim reason amid the chaos. With an unyielding focus and a moral clarity that bordered on the fanatic, Audra began to expose the underbelly of Amy's machinations. "If we allow Amy to continue unchecked," she warned a small, concerned assembly, "then Nate's well-being, and indeed the stability of everything we hold dear, will be irrevocably compromised." Her accusations were not idle words, they were backed by a meticulous dissection of Amy's plans that were, in Audra's eyes, as dirty and malevolent as they were cunning. To Audra, Amy was not merely a misguided soul, she was a villain, a puppet master whose sinister designs threatened to unravel the fragile threads of trust that bound their community together. Amy's wrath unleashed for Amy, however, these accusations were a provocation too far. Known throughout their circles for her cunning and ruthlessness, Amy was a force that thrived on chaos and manipulation. Every time Audra's pointed words rang out, Amy's eyes would flash with a dangerous combination of fury and determination. In a heated confrontation that sent shockwaves through their inner circle, Amy retorted, "You think your baseless claims can diminish me? I will not be undone by whispers and insinuations. Prepare yourself, Audra, your time is coming, and I will not be the one left broken in the aftermath." Her voice, laced with venom and promise of retaliation, signaled that the battle was far from over. As she stormed away, the air around her seemed to crackle with an energy that foretold an all-out war. The convergence of fates in this intricate web of alliances and betrayals, each character's journey was inextricably linked. Sharon's inner turmoil and desperate need for redemption clashed with her stubborn pride, leaving her at a crossroads where vulnerability and defiance danced a perilous waltz. Phyllis, fueled by her relentless drive for vengeance, prepared to unleash a torrent of retribution that would ripple through every corner of their intertwined lives. Nate, wearied by the endless cycle of conflict, teetered on the brink of despair, uncertain of who to trust in a world where loyalty was as fleeting as a shadow at dusk. And as Audra's grim warnings about Amy's treachery echoed in every hushed conversation, the stage was set for a confrontation that would test the very limits of their resilience. In this volatile milieu, every whispered secret, every unspoken regret, and every calculated move carried the weight of destiny. The choices made in the coming days would not only determine the fate of individual souls but also reshape the power dynamics that had long dictated the rhythm of their lives. As the storm gathered strength on the horizon, each character stood on the precipice of transformation, one misstep away from catastrophe, yet also one bold stride toward the possibility of redemption. The intricate interplay of personal guilt, the thirst for vengeance, and the relentless pursuit of justice converged in a maelstrom of emotion and action. Sharon's struggle to reconcile her past with the hope of a better future, Phyllis's unyielding determination to see justice served, Nate's desperate search for a beacon of truth amid the chaos, and Amy's burgeoning wrath all coalesced into a narrative that was as tumultuous as it was inevitable. In the end, only time would reveal whether the bonds of loyalty could be mended or if the scars of betrayal would forever mar the souls of those caught in the relentless tide of fate. Thus, as the city braced for the inevitable clash of wills and ambitions, one thing became clear. In a world where every action had its consequence, redemption and ruin were two sides of the same coin, forever intertwined in the ceaseless dance of human frailty and resilience. Amy's life of contradictions in stark contrast to the bitterness that defined Damien's existence. Amy's life appeared, at first glance, to be one of carefree joy and effortless grace. In the public eye, she was a beacon of light, a woman who had seemingly overcome the dark trials of her past. Yet beneath this polished exterior lay secrets that threatened to unravel the very fabric of her carefully constructed life. Amy had not only abandoned her own son but had also woven a tangled web of deception to mask the truth. In a desperate bid for sympathy and a fresh start, she fabricated a story that she had been kidnapped, a tale designed to evoke pity and shield her from the consequences of her actions. But the ruse, over time, began to weigh heavily on her conscience. Every smile she flashed, every laugh she shared with newfound friends, was undercut by the knowledge that her true history was far more complex and far less redeemable. Amy's carefree existence was, in many ways, a mask. Behind closed doors, she grappled with the guilt of her abandonment and the haunting realization that her false narrative could never truly erase the pain she had inflicted. As she navigated the delicate balance between self-reinvention and atonement, Amy understood that if she were ever to mend the shattered bond with her son, she would need to show a sincerity that cut through the layers of deceit. It was not enough to bask in the fleeting glow of a joyful life. She had to confront her past, acknowledge her mistakes, and prove, beyond doubt, that she was worthy of redemption. Nate's uphill mission of reconciliation caught in the crossfire of these deep-seated conflicts was Nate, a man whose gentle demeanor and steadfast commitment to healing made him the natural mediator in a family torn apart by mistrust and regret. Nate's heart ached for both Damien and Amy, for he saw in their pain the reflection of his own struggles with loss and broken promises. Determined to bridge the vast chasm that separated mother and son, Nate embarked on a mission that was as daunting as it was essential. He knew that reconciliation was not a matter of quick fixes or simple apologies. It was a process that required time, unwavering patience, and an unflinching commitment to truth. Late into many restless nights, Nate would find himself musing over the complexities of forgiveness. Healing, he would often say, is not about erasing the past, it's about building a future where every scar tells a story of survival and every tear is a testament to our resilience. With this belief as his guiding star, Nate worked tirelessly to create moments of understanding between Damien and Amy. He arranged quiet dinners in familiar old haunts, encouraged long, candid conversations under the soft glow of streetlights, and offered a listening ear to both sides. Yet, even as he made these efforts, he was painfully aware that trust, once broken, is not easily rebuilt. Each attempt at rapprochement was met with hesitance and guarded responses, a reminder that the path to healing was paved with both hope and heartache. Audra's fiery passion and Nate's counsel amid the delicate negotiations between a mother and her estranged son, another subplot was unfolding, a subplot that would test the limits of temperance and reason. Audra, known for her fierce passion and a determination that bordered on the fanatical, had taken it upon herself to champion a form of justice that was swift and uncompromising. In her eyes, the wrongs of the past demanded immediate retribution. Her anger, though fueled by a genuine sense of betrayal and injustice, threatened to upend the fragile progress that Nate was striving to achieve. Recognizing the danger of impulsivity, Nate found it necessary to counsel Audra in moments of quiet reflection. "Audra," he would say in a tone both firm and compassionate, "I understand the fire in your heart. I know that when you see the injustice of our past, you feel an overwhelming urge to act. But rushing headlong into retribution will only deepen our wounds. We must let time be our ally. Patience does not mean inaction, it means choosing the right moment to heal rather than hurt further." Nate's words, though delivered in the heat of tension, were a plea for balance, a call to temper passion with prudence. Audra's eyes, usually alight with the promise of swift vengeance, would soften ever so slightly as she absorbed his counsel. In those rare moments of introspection, the possibility of a future where justice was served not through impulsive acts but through deliberate, thoughtful actions seemed, if only for a moment, within reach. The first steps toward redemption one crisp autumn evening, as the amber light of dusk bathed Genoa City in a melancholic glow, the long-overdue confrontation between Damien and Amy reached its tipping point. In a modest café tucked away in a quiet corner of the city, the two sat across from each other, the silence between them pregnant with years of unspoken grief. Amy, her eyes filled with remorse and determination, broke the stillness. "Damien," she began, her voice trembling with the weight of regret, "I know I can never undo the pain I've caused you. I have spent too many years lost in lies, trying to hide from the truth. But I am here now, and I want to show you that I am willing to do whatever it takes to earn your trust back." Her words, tentative yet laden with sincerity, hung in the air as Damien's gaze remained fixed, distant, as if peering into a past too painful to revisit. The years of abandonment had built an impenetrable wall around his heart. "I don't want your apologies, Amy," he replied quietly, his voice edged with sorrow and defiance. "I don't want forgiveness. I want you to understand the weight of my suffering, the loneliness that has defined my every day. How can I ever believe that you deserve a second chance when every memory of you is a scar that refuses to fade?" It was a confrontation that encapsulated the very essence of their broken relationship, a collision of wounded pride, deep-seated resentment, and the faint, elusive hope of reconciliation. In that charged moment, Nate stepped forward, his calm presence a stabilizing force amid the emotional turbulence. "This isn't a battle to be won or lost in a single moment," he said softly. "It's a journey, a process that requires time, honesty, and a willingness to face the past with all its pain. Amy, if you truly want to mend what has been broken, you must show not only with words but with actions that you are committed to change. And Damien, I know your wounds run deep. But holding on to this anger will only keep you from the possibility of healing. The long, winding road ahead in the days and weeks that followed that fateful evening, Genoa City bore witness to tentative steps toward healing. Amy began to shed the layers of deception that had long defined her existence. No longer content to hide behind a fabricated tale of kidnapping, she embarked on a campaign of transparency. She reached out to those she had wronged, including her estranged son, with letters that chronicled her regret, her struggles, and her fervent desire to change. She visited the places where she and Damien had once shared happier memories, hoping that these acts of contrition might serve as the first bricks in rebuilding a bridge that had long been crumbled by neglect. For his part, Damien continued to wrestle with his inner demons. Every gesture from Amy was a reminder of both the past and the possibility of a different future. There were moments when a flicker of hope would lighten his eyes, a brief, almost imperceptible glimmer that perhaps the woman before him was not entirely unredeemable. Yet, his hardened resolve remained. The journey to forgiveness was not one he could embark upon lightly. It demanded that Amy prove her sincerity time and again, not just in fleeting words but in enduring, tangible change. Nate, ever the mediator, worked tirelessly to nurture these fragile bonds. He organized small gatherings, encouraged one-on-one conversations, and often found himself mediating between passionate arguments and silent reflections. His belief in the power of time and genuine remorse was unshakable. Let the truth guide you, he would remind both Amy and Damien, and let patience be the measure of your redemption. Healing is not a destination, it's a journey that unfolds slowly, one honest step at a time. Meanwhile, Audra's fiery presence, though still potent, began to mellow under Nate's consistent guidance. She learned that while her anger was valid, unchecked impulsivity could jeopardize the delicate progress that was being made. In moments of quiet reflection, she too started to see that true justice was not about swift retribution but about creating a space where old wounds could, eventually, begin to heal. A future of uncertain promise in the vast tapestry of Genoa City, every heart bore its own story of pain, betrayal, and the hope of renewal. For Damien, the struggle was as personal as it was profound, a daily battle against the shadows of a past that refused to be forgotten. His refusal to forgive his mother was both a shield and a prison, protecting him from further hurt even as it locked him away from the possibility of healing. Yet, beneath that hardened exterior, there lingered a quiet, desperate hope that one day the memories of abandonment might give way to the promise of reconciliation. Amy, too, was on a path of transformation. The joyful, carefree persona she had cultivated was giving way to a more honest, if painful, reality. Every act of contrition, every honest conversation with those she had hurt, was a step toward reclaiming the lost fragments of her soul. She knew that to mend the bond with her son, she had to prove not only that she was remorseful but also that she was capable of change, that she was worthy of a future free from the shadows of her past mistakes. Nate's role remained as critical as ever. He was the quiet beacon of hope amidst the swirling chaos, a reminder that even the deepest wounds could one day begin to heal if tended with care, patience, and unwavering truth. His belief in the possibility of redemption resonated in every word he spoke, every effort he made to bridge the divide between anger and forgiveness. And as Genoa City continued its restless hum, the intertwined fates of these four souls, Damien, Amy, Nate, and Audra, unfolded slowly, like the turning of a page in a long-forgotten chapter of a much larger story. A story in which every tear shed, every moment of regret, and every spark of hope contributed to the ever-evolving narrative of human frailty and strength. In this intricate dance of pain and possibility, no outcome was predetermined. The journey toward reconciliation was fraught with setbacks and moments of profound vulnerability. Yet, amid the uncertainty, one truth remained clear: the path to healing, though steep and winding, was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. For in the end, forgiveness is not simply about forgetting the past, but about embracing it, learning from it, and allowing every scar to become a stepping stone toward a future defined by hope, understanding, and the courage to start anew.